In a colony built on survival, order, one thing ruled more powerfully than the governor: rum. Yes, actual, honest-to-goodness, liver-shriveling, brain-melting rum. And in 1808, that intoxicating liquid sparked the only successful military coup in Australian history. It wasn't over gold, it wasn't over land, it was over booze, power, and a governor who decided to clean up the mess. This is the story of the Rum Rebellion. By the turn of the 19th century, Sydney was more wild frontier than functioning colony. Convicts built it, soldiers protected it, and merchants, well, they ran it, especially the officers of the New South Wales Corps. You see, the Corps, nicknamed the Rum Corps, weren't just soldiers. They were landowners, traders, landlords, and pub owners. And their currency of choice, not shillings, not pounds. Sweet, spicy, deeply corrupt rum. Need a doctor? Pay in rum. Want bricks for a house? Want a wife? Rum might help. The Corps had turned Sydney into a boozy monopoly, and they loved it that way. Enter the hero, or villain, of our tale, William Bligh. Yes, that Bligh. The same man who survived the mutiny on the Bounty in 1789. The same man who rowed over 6,000 kilometres in a lifeboat to safety. When the British government appointed Bligh as Governor of New South Wales in 1806, they had one goal: clean. This upper. He was known for his harsh discipline, his iron will, and a raging temper that could peel the paint off a ship's hull. And when he saw the Corps running Sydney like a backyard distillery, he did the unthinkable. He tried to stop them. At the centre of this colonial cocktail of chaos was John Macarthur, former soldier, ambitious entrepreneur, and world-class schemer. Macarthur had his fingers in every pie: wool, land, trade, and, yep, rum. Bligh hated him on sight. The feud lit up like a powder keg. Bligh blocked his land grants. Macarthur insulted him in public. Bligh arrested him. Macarthur refused to pay bail. The courtroom became a battlefield, and then Bligh made a fatal mistake. He suspended the judge who ruled against him. Yep, suspended the judge. That was the spark. On January 26, 1808, while Sydney celebrated 20 years since the First Fleet's arrival, the New South Wales Corps marched on Government House. They weren't there for cake. Under the command of the Major George Johnston, they arrested the Governor of New South Wales. Bligh, in classic form, refused to surrender. He locked himself in a room and tried to hide behind a bed. Yes, really. But the redcoats dragged him out. No shots fired, no casualties. Just one very humiliated governor and one very drunk rebellion. The Rum Rebellion had begun. For nearly 2 years, Sydney was ruled by a rogue military junta. Macarthur acted as puppet master. Johnston called himself Lieutenant Governor. And Bligh? He sat on a ship in the harbour, refusing to leave until he was officially relieved. A governor under house arrest, a coup with no bullets, and a colony that ran on rum and rebellion. But back in London, the Crown was not impressed. In late 1809, the British finally acted. Enter Colonel Lachlan Macquarie, a man with orders to restore the law, rebuild the colony, and boot out the drunkards. He landed with 1,000 fresh troops and zero tolerance. Johnston was arrested and sent back to England. Macarthur? He conveniently retired to England before the heat landed. And Bligh? He finally sailed home, but not before leaving behind a pile of notes, complaints, and probably several empty rum bottles. So who won? Bligh was right, but impossible. Macarthur was wrong, but brilliant. Johnston was court-martialed and found guilty, lightly punished, and the Corps? Disbanded. But from the rubble came something lasting. Under Macquarie, Sydney transformed. Roads, infrastructure, rules, and less rum. The Rum Rebellion was over, but it left a permanent mark. It showed that power could be challenged, that corruption had limits, and that in Australia, even a governor could end up under a bed, hiding from his own army. The Rum Rebellion, a coup without bullets, a war without blood, and a legacy that still echoes in the bones of the city. This was the day Australia got tipsy and turned on its own governor.